I always love this quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast, because if you don't have the people bought in or feel part of the shared goals or the goals of the company, it doesn't matter. It's the people that's going to drive the results.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the LeadHer Lounge. As you all know, this YouTube series and podcast is all about leadership development and helping younger, newer, or emerging leaders really find their style and get some actionable takeaways. So who better to have on the show today as a special guest than the Vice President of Leadership Development herself at United Wholesale Mortgage, Renee Harmon. So Renee, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today. I've been looking forward to getting together with you and Erica, and so proud of both of you and what you're doing. So it's my pleasure.
Oh, it's definitely our pleasure too. This is a good reconnection. So a little bit about Renee and a little bit about how we know Renee. Renee's got over 40 years in leadership in the mortgage industry, and she's done everything from secondary marketing to product development and sales. But I think we'd both agree that you have really found your purpose in leadership development and developing others with your role as VP. So we're very grateful to have you in that position.
Yes, thank you. And I think as I was reflecting back on my transition from sales to leadership development team, I think when you get older, you start questioning whether you're providing value or your worth and giving to others. So I think that the timing was perfect in my life for that. So.
Oh, and you've really honestly made an impact. And speaking from my own experience, I mean, Renee has this like superpower of creating very inclusive, comfortable, safe spaces for her teams to feel valued and listened to and heard, and gives you a safe space to challenge the why if you don't understand something. And I have found so much value and had the pleasure of working alongside Renee for a couple years. And something that I find and that I admire, I think, the most about you is that you have an ability to really lead authentically. You're always your authentic self. And we talk a lot about authentic leadership here in the LeadHer Lounge and in the work that we do at Monarch Coaching. And it is all rooted in trust. So that's where we're going to talk today. That's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start with just a simple question. From your own experience of leading teams, why do you feel that it is so important for leaders to build trust with their teams?
I think without trust, you're not a leader. You're a boss. Kind of that top-down management style. When I started working, that was real prevalent. And today's society, it's all about collaboration, communication, involving others to create that environment, because not one person has the best idea. It's a multiple of different types of people with different experiences that come up with the best ideas. So to make sure that everyone feels included and that they belong to the team and that they have a voice, I think leads to better performance, retention, and confidence in people, and then they take that lesson that they've learned and pass it on to others. Perfect example is you and Erica, now what you're doing with numerous people and making people really serve, because I think we're all here to serve each other, and that's just so important. That's what I believe is that we're placed here to serve others, and when you do that, that makes you feel so good, because when we give, it's all about the feeling that you get back from that. And then when you give, your success is tied to other people's successes. I think that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, I agree that if you're not creating a safe space for people to be able to share ideas, you're going to be stuck. I mean, there's no innovation. There's not going to be any creativity, but you create a lot of really trusting. And I think that you're someone, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always seen you as someone who trusts someone until they give you a reason not to. Would you say that that's true?
That's true. And Matt Ishbia actually he's the CEO of UWM, and he said that when I started about 15 years ago there, he said he extends trust to people until they may lose it by not following through on their actions, or maybe their words aren't aligned with their actions. So yeah, I think that was so when he said that, it just really made a lot of sense to me.
That resonates with me too, because I feel like I'm the same way. But I know that we've talked before, trust is very hard to build sometimes with people, especially when you're building a team and you've got multiple people that respond in different ways, and you have to kind of cater your leadership style to them and what they like. So trust is really hard to build, but it's also very easy to lose, and you can lose it very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear, I'm sure you've got some perspectives and some stories, something you can share about a moment where trust was lost or broken that you can share with us here.
Yes, it was back when I was in sales. I was a division leader, and we have at UWM what we call your times, monthly your times, that are 30-minute meeting once a month with your leaders or team members. And this particular leader had built so much capital with me, leadership capital and trust. And this particular day, I don't know if he was having an off day or what the circumstances were, but he was looking at his phone. He was looking at his computer. He wasn't making eye contact. It was like he was checking the box. And after that 30 minutes, he went from having high levels of trust with me to hardly any trust, just based on his actions for that particular 30 minutes, which he had worked so hard to gain my trust, and he lost it. And it took quite some time to get it back. Now, fortunately, we had a pretty good relationship, so I could be very honest with him.
That's good.
But that 30 minutes of not being dialed in or focused or self-aware of his behavior, he immediately lost trust with me.
It happens so quickly. And how long did you guys work together, just to get an idea? Like, how long were you was that trust being built for, essentially?
We had worked together for 3 years at that point.
And it took 30 minutes for it to just crumble.
30 minutes to crumble, because I obviously wasn't the most important thing. And I knew that he was just checking the box to meet his monthly requirements. That's just 30 minutes of his time.
Yep. And you can really make a big impact in that short amount of time.
Yes, you can. Negatively and positively.
It is crazy. Yeah.
Quick Boss Leaders, this is a leadership development resource brought to you by Monarch Coaching.
You don't need a fancy title or a big team to grow as a leader. That's why Monarch Coaching created the Individual Path, part of our Monarch Leadership Program, designed for professionals who want to lead with purpose, influence, and authenticity no matter their role. Because leadership starts from within, and this path helps you emerge, evolve, and elevate at your own pace. Visit the link in our description below to learn more, and use code LHL10 to get 10% off your program package. The Monarch Leadership Program, leadership that begins with you.
All right, let's go back to the conversation.
So I would love to ask you then, in your experience with leading different types of people, have you yourself ever has someone lost trust in you that you are willing and open to share?
Yes, I think so. And I think it's all in how you communicate. And obviously communication's on the sender. And my message wasn't received the way I intended it. And it took them, I would say, at least a month to have the conversation about it. So after that happened, I started paying more attention to make sure my communication was received the way I intended it, and just being more dialed in to body language. Everything moves so fast nowadays. We're on our devices, computers. Sometimes we're communicating, texting, emailing. There's all different forms of communication. I think the the speed at which we operate nowadays, you can easily lose trust and you're not even aware of it. So I just try to be more mindful, more self-aware, and be present when I am having a conversation.
Yeah, I think you're so spot on with the communication. I said this before, that we have so many more forms of communication, but we're also probably the most disconnected that we've ever been. And I know for me, like, I will get a text from anyone. Like, if I'm texting, let's say my mother, for example, I'll text my mom and she just texts me a thumbs up. I'm like, what does that mean? I need more detail on that. But I love that you've taken ownership of that, because you realize that like you said, communication's on the receiver, or on the sender, sorry, and that we have to make sure that they confirm our understanding. But all in all, losing trust might be unavoidable in some instances. And when we have teams full of so many different types of people, what do you think are some best practices for how to either rebuild trust or try to maintain trust within a team? Do you have anything?
I think in order to rebuild it, I think it's just your actions need to be aligned with your messaging. So in this particular case that I was referring to, I started bringing them to more meetings with me. We'd talk afterwards. I'd ask what they thought, what our next step should be. And I think I was able to regain their trust because I showed that I was still empowering them. And I think you're right. I mean, we're humans. We're going to make mistakes. And I think when we're vulnerable and we apologize and we're aware of our mistakes, people tend to trust you more and again.
Absolutely. That's something that I feel like I can share an example, like being on your team and having a relationship with you as my leader, which if you haven't seen the episode of Leaders Are Superheroes, this is the lady I was talking about.
Oh, you made me cry.
But I know. No crying on the podcast. No. But you have been so vulnerable with your team and with me, and that vulnerability truly builds trust. And obviously there's a limit to how much you might want to share with someone, but I do believe that you opening up and being honest with, hey, I made a mistake. I did something that I'm not proud of, and I'm going to get better from it. That is something that you do very well. You have a really good self-awareness, and you do continue to build trust with people because of that vulnerability. So that's a huge one, and I appreciate it because that's something that I've learned with myself as well.
Thank you. And when I look back, I'll just call them a boss.
Yeah.
That never admitted mistakes or never asked what we thought. It was always her way or the highway. And I just remember how she made me feel. And I didn't want to make people feel like that if I ever became a leader.
100%. It's that social awareness for sure. I love it. So you are, I think, in this wonderful organization, and this organization, UWM values leadership development and investing in their people so much. And this is something that it is a luxury that a lot of organizations and small businesses especially don't have access to. So I want to ask you, how do you feel organizations can benefit from companies like Monarch Coaching by investing in their leaders? How does that benefit the organization?
I think it leads to results, because I always love this quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast, because if you don't have the people bought in or feel part of the shared goals or the goals of the company, it doesn't matter. It's the people that's going to drive the results. And when people feel empowered and feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves, they're going to care, and then they perform better.
Absolutely. That's I love that quote too. And I do think that culture, you don't have it if you don't have people, and people are everything.
Yes.
So if you don't have a human connection with your team, if you're not investing in your people, what are you investing in? Because we're the ones that run the business,
Exactly.
Happy wife, happy life, happy employee, happy company.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for sharing all your insights. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience or with us at all, that maybe some tips or best practices that you'd like to give?
I would just, seeing you and Erica and what you're doing. Just so proud. And they're the real deal, everyone. These ladies care so much about others, true servant leaders. And I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you, Renee. I'm
Yes.
proud of you too. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Thank you so much. And if you want to maybe follow Renee and see all the big things that she's doing, she is on LinkedIn. So I will share her link to her LinkedIn profile below. I do want to take a moment to thank Velocity here in Sterling Heights for our wonderful podcasting station that we have here. And again, thank you so much. If you haven't, please subscribe, and we'll see you next week, leaders. Bye.
Bye.